Welcome your host, Caddy Frink, as she leads discussions about substance use disorder and the journey to recovery. You're listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution.
Well, hello, all of you out there in listening land. This is Caddy Frink, Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution with Minnesota Recovery Connection. I sound a little on the deep voice kind of line, don't I, ladies?
Yeah. I kind of like it.
Kind of, yeah. My guy came up to me the other day and goes, Barry White took over? I'm like, yes, he did. So welcome all of you. We are post-Christmas, and we all are still with us. Isn't that marvelous? So I have two of the most anxious women that I've seen in a long time in the studio. They're the anxious gigglers, which is just fine because this is new. It's new. But guess what? Recovery gets to bring us new stuff, doesn't it?
Yes.
Imagine that.
Yes.
So we're going to start the show off as we always do. I want to thank some of our funding sources, which are on my piece of paper that is upside down because I am not prepared. So I want to give special thanks to our generous funders, which are Patrick and Amy Butler Foundation, Otto Bremer Trust, the Sauer Family Foundation, the Hardenberg Foundation, and alongside many others, corporate individuals, and those who are just listening to this podcast because they're contributing to our listening audience. Right, ladies?
Yes.
Give me something, Josie.
Yes.
You betcha.
Yes,
There we are. See, I got to get them to talk. This is talk radio. So we're going to get there, I promise. So we're going to start the show off as we normally do, which is, Josie, what's right with you today?
What is right with me? I would say just that it's Friday. It's been kind of a funky week just with the Christmas break in the middle. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. But so just happy for the weekend and happy for chicken tacos tonight for dinner.
Ew.
Yes, my fiance texted me on the way over here and he's like, should I get the chicken taco kit from Costco? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, run
totally.
that. So
I know that mix, too.
Yes.
It's kind of good.
It's super good. So
wow.
yeah,
You got some din-din coming tonight.
Yes, and he's the cook, so I just get to sit back and
entertain the child
Yep.
and be fed.
yes.
Sweet.
Yeah. So what's right with you, Caddy?
Well, I'm here with two amazing women that I'm so excited. I made it through the Christmas holiday. As you can tell, I got a little cold that's going on, but that's okay. But what's right with me is that I made it through the holiday because it's only been a year since my father passed away, which was very unexpected last year. And I had my beautiful friends and family around for a very small gathering. So just super grateful that we can make it through the holidays even when we might not have the brightest stars always shining. So just super grateful, super grateful. Miss Rachel, what's right with you today?
It's my birthday.
Yes.
One more time. What is it?
It's my birthday.
It's your birthday. And what's on the daily plan for today?
I'm thinking that we're probably going to go out to this new restaurant. It's in Minneapolis, kind of uptowny. It's that Jade Dynasty.
Not familiar with it.
Yeah, we drove by it and it was all lit up with like red and pink lights, and I was like, "Ooh, I have to go there."
Oh, that sounds fabulous.
Yes.
Do you know what kind of food it is?
It's Chinese.
Chinese.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes.
So a special dinner for a special girl.
Yes, I'm 41.
Ooh, years young. Look at you. She just got her hair did about a week or so ago, so she's just flashy as she can possibly be.
Yes.
Nice. Well, happy birthday, love.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. So what we have these two lovely individuals, and what we're going to do is do a two-part series. And what the first conversation that we're going to have is about who are these lovely ladies that are in front of me. And then the second part, which will air a week later, is going to be about the organization that they work for through Minnesota Recovery Connection. got to say that just right because it gets a little bit tough. It's like, who do you actually work for? You work for us, but you get paid through, it's kind of a thing.
I know when I go to explain it to somebody, I'm like, okay, never mind. This is just getting confusing.
Yeah. It's kind of like gets in the weeds, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, but it's one of the most fortunate things that Minnesota Recovery Connection has been able to give the opportunity for ladies like you as well as other people. So we're about to embark on New Year's Eve. And when we discussed a couple weeks ago about what Christmas is like for the recovery community, what advice can you lean into for people who are going out for New Year's Eve? Because this is a tough night, too, for our community. So, Josie, what would you say is, I see I just threw her for a loop, folks, just saying. What would you say is a way that you take care of yourself, or you could think of maybe participants that you've talked to about taking care of themselves during a time when it's celebration, and what comes with celebration is usually chemicals of some kind. What would you say is a way that you've taken care of yourself in your recovery journey, or give advice to somebody who's listening?
Yeah, I would say just surround yourself with a positive support system. It's so easy to go hang out with who you used to hang out with and, who you were comfortable with when those times included like drinking or using other substances. So I would just say, be surrounded by the right people. And for me, that looks like my family, my daughter, my fiance.
Nice.
We don't even really stay up to watch the ball drop or anything like that. We're just
I haven't done that in years.
No, we're just, in bed by 10 or so. But so yeah, I would just say if you are going to go out, I know that, some meetings or whatever, throw some kind of parties around New Year's Eve time. So if that's something
sober friendly kind of things.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Thank you. What about you, Rachel? How do you stay in your recovery journey or advise other folks just to give them suggestions?
I think the most important thing that I did for myself during the holidays was I had a plan. So before going to my mom's house or visiting with family, I had therapy before.
Therapy is a beautiful thing.
Each holiday, and it was kind of like I made a plan with my therapist. Like, if there are people there that are using, then I'm gonna leave.
Right.
Yeah. So I just went into it knowing that I had a plan in place, and I made sure I followed it.
Nice. Yeah, and I think that's one of the really important pieces is that when we're in our recovery journey and moving through it and sort of getting stronger, but we can, as you said, Josie, get kind of tempted by maybe somebody calls or sends us a text and says, hey, you want to come over to and you're like, I know that is not good territory for me.
Yeah.
So to your point, Rachel, is to have a plan for success, right?
Yep.
Well, that's really amazing. And it's interesting, at not 41 anymore, I haven't done that holiday for a very long time. Sometimes I stay up just to see what the neighborhood's going to do. Maybe there's some random fireworks or something, but for the most part, I'm in bed too. But I think to both of your points, it's important that people figure out what is going to work for them. And then, like you said, Rachel, is let the people know that you're going to be going and surrounding yourself with, say, hey, by the way, if things kind of get to a point where I'm just not as comfortable, I am going to be taking off. It means I don't not love you. Doesn't mean I don't want to be around you. Does that make sense, Rachel?
Yeah, it's really important to just like have those personal boundaries and make sure that you're sticking to them.
Right. But I think it's important to also let people know, because all of a
Yeah.
sudden you bail out and they're
Right.
like, well, where'd you go?
Right.
And then they're like, but don't you love me anymore? It's like, no, it has nothing to do with you. This is
Right.
about self-preservation, because the temptations can be ginormous. And I think that's one of the important things that we talk about on this show is folks who are loving people who are struggling with substance use disorder have to love that they will take care of themselves, as well as they can love them too, but respect, as you said, Rachel, the boundaries.
Yep.
and give people an opportunity to say, hey, this is going to be in my best interest. And you know what? Maybe tomorrow when your head hurts, I'll come over. I'll come over and get, something to eat. Or maybe I'll bring you a little something, a little Pedialyte or a little Gatorade to make you feel better. So we're about ready to take our first break. And when we come back, I'm going to hear a couple of lovely stories from a couple of lovely humans that are in front of me. So I want to thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution. My name is Caddy Frink, and we're with Minnesota Recovery Connection. So hold on to your hats, folks. Got 2 great stories coming up from Rachel and Josie. Thank you. Well, we're back with this discussion with 2 lovely humans. I'm going to go eeny, meeny, miny, mo and pick out who is going to do their conversation first. So I'm going to go Josie.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. She's like, oh, man, do I have to go first?
Okay.
So I sort of forewarned these lovely ladies that what I want you to do is I want you to help people understand the journey that you took. What I understand about both of you is that your substance use came in kind of early and it then moved on into where recovery was not part of the picture, shall we say, and then you found your recovery. So, Josie, kind of give us a little bit of a story about where it started, where it kind of went to, and then how's that recovery going for you, friend?
Okay. So I kind of started my substance use.
You know what? I'm going to interrupt you for a hot minute.
What?
I need you both to introduce yourself. I'm like, here I am just saying all these. It's like, I know. You all know people. When you work with folks, you just assume. What does assume mean? Say it.
Ass out of me and you.
Exactly. So, Josie, would you introduce yourself and the position that you have and then embark?
Okay, so my name is Josie, and I am a recovery navigator at Minnesota Recovery Connection. And yeah, I'm here to just talk about my story, I guess.
There you go. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So it started kind of young, when I first started dabbling with substances. I was 12 years old. And I started smoking weed and drinking alcohol just with friends, just experimenting. I had 2 older siblings, so I kind of think that played a part in it, because they were doing it, and so I wanted to do it.
You wanted to be cool.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. And, for the first couple of years, I was just, smoking weed with my friends, having fun, and kind of started dabbling into some more substances as I got a little older.
Defined as?
So my sister was prescribed Xanax. So she's a year and a half older than me. So we've always been super close. She was prescribed Xanax when she was like 15. So, that kind of went downhill quick.
Okay.
And I kind of started doing them with her. She would share with me. And so I started doing Xanax at a really young age, probably I was 14.
What did Xanax do to you, for you? What was that?
Yeah, so I struggled. I started experiencing anxiety when I was around 13, 14 years old. And I actually stopped going to school because of it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was, really. It was just kind of confusing. I was at that weird age, too, 14, starting high school. And I actually went to, when I was 14, like a mental health based school.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a really cool experience. But that's when I started experiencing anxiety, and my sister did too. And so she was prescribed Xanax, and we were kind of doing it together. And so it helped me. It made me feel normal. It didn't give me any fear in my stomach. That's, one of the symptoms of anxiety is that knot in your stomach that I would get. It would give me confidence, and it just made me feel normal. And
Interesting.
yeah, so I loved that feeling.
Yeah.
And
who wouldn't?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like this is what you're supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
So kind of was doing Xanax, for a few years on and off. Not super bad or anything like that, just occasionally, with my sister. still drinking, dabbling in some other substances like Coke when I was like 18. And that's when I first kind of started to get in trouble. When I was 18, that's the first time I went to jail. And then that's also the first time that I experienced recovery in a sense because my probation officer had me go to inpatient treatment when I was 18. And I actually remember being in my first inpatient treatment. And I was talking to someone and I was like, I am not an addict. And she was like, yes, you are. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And so, just the denial stage of addiction. And
So when you're in treatment and you're being asked, like these questions, what comes to your mind about, no, I'm not an addict? What did you perceive an addict to be?
yeah, I perceive an addict to be like someone using like meth and heroin and, on the streets and
Sort of that whole stigmatized
exactly.
picture.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
It can't be me. I just use a
No.
little of this and a little of that.
Yeah, and I had
Okay.
friends that were using meth and I was like, I'm never going to use meth ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I got out of treatment. I was doing outpatient treatment, and I was still like smoking weed and stuff. Just kind of jumping through the hoops. So I wasn't really in recovery, but I kind of experienced recovery in a sense of like what it means, just because there was other people in that treatment center that were in recovery.
Okay.
But
So were you practicing harm reduction and you didn't even know it
yes,
back then?
yes, I was.
So we all talked about harm reduction, which is you're not using the chemicals that got you into treatment, but
Yeah.
you're using something that just kind of keeps the mood a little bit more even keeled, maybe,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so yeah, I just, continued drinking and smoking and did that for the next couple years. And then, I went to drinking. When I would drink, I would get really nasty. Like I would get violent. And there was just something that switched in me where it would take me out of character. And, so I was fighting when I was drinking and ended up going to jail a couple more times.
Arrested for that behavior?
Yeah.
Like in a public place type of thing? Or
Yeah, like a disorderly,
Okay.
and then like an assault charge,
Okay.
and then like an under 20 age like consumption or under 21 age consumption of alcohol or
Something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And the reason why I ask these questions is that there's going to be folks that are listening to this and they're going to wonder, well, how did you get arrested? What was that looking like? Why would that be? Well, you're sort of following suit with everybody around, but now the addiction and the substance use is kind of, I would say it sounds like it's escalating a little bit,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so your behavior is changing. Who you show up as isn't the person that you are. And so when there are people listening to this show, I want them to sort of understand that there are times when we see a personality change in someone. It could be the secret use or the very outward use of their chemicals. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And so when I was in jail, one of the times I was 20 years old, I met someone and she became a really, really good friend of mine. And but she was pretty heavily into methamphetamine.
Okay.
And so that got me really curious.
Oh boy.
yeah,
Darn
yeah,
tootin' curiosity.
yes.
What would that be like?
Yeah. And then at the time too, I met who's now my fiance, and he's a few years older than me, but he was sober when I met him, and but he had a past with methamphetamine.
Okay.
And so just that curiosity of like meeting these people that have had this past with meth, and I was just like, like I'm just like, what is that like,
What would that high look like?
Yeah. And so I remember hanging out with this girl that I met in jail, and
Those acquaintances.
yes, and I tried meth for the first time, and I absolutely loved it. And
Define the love. What was the love so people can understand that?
yeah, so just the feeling that it gave me, just a happy euphoria, just excited,
Okay.
confident,
Okay.
feeling.
Just took all the worries away kind of thing?
Yeah, it just made me feel really good. Yeah,
Okay.
and I really liked it. And so, that's when I kind of started to develop new behaviors, new characteristics, new worldviews, just because I started to experience things really quickly. Kind of like bad traumatic things, went through a lot of drama and trauma really fast, and eventually
Because of the people that you were around. And just the company you were keeping.
Yep.
To stay in that state of what would be euphoria and happiness also had the dark side.
Yes, a
Okay.
very dark side, yes. And then, eventually, like, my fiance relapsed, and so we were doing meth together, and he already knew, all the people, just because of his past being in that world. And so, I met those people, and
Sure.
so just spiraled really fast. And so that's when I was 21, and I feel so grateful to have only done meth for 3.5 years before I got sober and into recovery. But, lots more jail visits just for stuff that I would be doing when I was high, like stealing, fighting.
You needed the money to get the stuff that was keeping you happy.
Yeah.
And then having all these consequences.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I know, right? And so I guess, what led me to stop using methamphetamine is something that I like to focus on a lot, because it changed my life completely. One night I was, up for days, and I was drinking, and I was living with my mom, and I ended up going home, and I physically assaulted her. And, my mom is like my best friend too. And so that was really hard, because she ended up kicking me out, obviously, because she kind of enabled me a lot. And so this was kind of just like the last string. And so I had nowhere to go. And so my fiance had to go to treatment for probation. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I should go to treatment too, because I don't have anywhere to go. And, like, my fiance, like, we wanted to be together, but, there's not going to be much success if we're both using methamphetamine. It just doesn't really work out. And so we both went to treatment on the same day.
Wow.
I know, right?
Share that one.
Yeah. So, we were both able to just go to treatment on the same day through the same company, or organization, whatever. And we got out a couple days apart, and we've been clean ever since. And that was almost 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't hear often about, couples
making it together.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's like codependent, toxic, kind of when one relapses, the other one does, if that happens. But we've been in recovery ever since, and
you have a lovely daughter.
Yes, we started a family 3 months into getting into recovery, so that was really scary, because it was like, oh my gosh, now I'm gonna have a baby, like, that's
a little person.
Yeah,
I gotta keep my stuff together.
Yeah. So that was, there's many different pathways to recovery, and I would say that my daughter is my pathway to recovery.
Yeah.
She's my motivation. She's, being a mom is just a huge part of my identity, along with being in recovery.
Yeah.
Along with being a soon-to-be wife.
Ooh,
Yes.
she's going to get married one day.
Yes.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
thank you for that journey that you took.
Yeah.
A lot of steps along the way, and usually there's some sort of event that takes place, whatever it might be, and you using your mother as pinnacle of that, but not to her benefit, to her drawback. But she maybe did the best thing is, rather than enabling you, she said, no, I'm not going to anymore.
Yeah.
And you moved on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, my friend.
Yes,
Appreciate
of
that,
course.
Josie.
Yeah.
And now I look at the birthday girl. So, Rachel, oh, wow, what was that voice that just came out? Tell us your story.
Do we have enough time?
Yeah, did I take too much time?
No, it
Oh
was
my
perfect.
gosh.
It's perfect. Go for it, my friend. And if we have
Okay.
to pause and move in, we've got plenty of time.
So my story is a little bit more complicated than Josie's. So I started using, well, first my childhood was kind of traumatic. My mom was working. She was a single mom with 4 kids. So, towards my teenage years, we kind of found ourselves maybe like raising ourselves a little bit,
Absolutely.
which led to, like free time on our hands because there's nobody really around.
Oh, that free time, that can be dangerous.
So I would say maybe around like 12 or 13, I started smoking weed and kind of drinking. But not soon after that, I'd say 14 or 15 was the first time I ever tried meth.
Really? So
Yeah,
you
I was
kinda-
in 9th grade.
So who was or who wasn't? How did that come to you at that pretty early age?
Honestly, this sounds really terrible, but I had a friend whose aunt used to give it to us to babysit her kids.
So it was your payment?
Yeah,
Wow.
mind blowing. Yeah, I think about it now as a grown up. I mean, back then I was like, yeah, that's so cool. We can get, but now it's like, oh my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
kidding me?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So note to self out there, if anybody's doing that, bad idea.
Bad idea. So, but I mean, for the first maybe like 10 years, well, from 14 to probably about 23, I would say I was more like a social. I could do it socially. I would do it for a couple of days and then I wouldn't do it for a month or two. I wouldn't really say that I was addicted back then. So I ended up having my daughter, who is 16 now. I had her when I was 24.
Okay.
I kind of always had my stuff together. I would, like I said, I would use every once in a while.
Right. It wasn't a problem, air quotes.
Well, I mean,
Per se.
Per se, yeah.
Yeah.
I always had a place to live. I always took care of my daughter. Then when I was, I want to say like 2014, I got a new boyfriend. And that whole relationship was extremely horrifically violent. There was a lot of domestic violence in that.
Sorry.
So I ended up having a son with that person. And so then now I had 2 kids.
Right.
And when I left him, it was kind of like my mom was like, my mom was running a daycare out of her house. And so she's like, your kids can come and live here, but
Okay.
like you can't.
You can't because
can't.
you're
You got
too...
you got some things going on.
Okay.
And I can't let that, wreck
Affect.
my business here.
Right.
So I found myself, that's when I really took a turn for the worse. So from 2016 into 2023, I was very deep in my addiction. Like meth is super powerful.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
I found myself, my whole world revolved around it.
Okay.
But I did end up getting pregnant in 2020 with my boyfriend that I'm still with now. I found some sobriety during my pregnancy, but right after I had my son, I started using again. So I got my 2 kids that my mom has custody of.
Okay.
I ended up having another kid. I have custody of him, so that we're looking at 2021. My life was just really, really traumatic. Like Josie was saying, when you're like involved in that world, it's drama and trauma. I like how you said that because that made a lot of sense.
Right.
Everything is, you're engulfed in criminal activities. Like as soon as I got high, I turned into a criminal.
Okay.
That's basically how I could sum that up.
Wow. So when you say you're a criminal, you're stealing to be able to sell stuff to be able to
Yes,
get
I'm
what you need.
shoplifting. I'm not doing anything, making money legally in any shape,
Any way,
form.
shape, or form.
Absolutely
so no
not.
jobs are happening, nothing
No.
along those lines.
Nope. So I had an apartment, and in 2023, June of 2023, due to my involvement in the criminal world, my house ends up getting raided.
Ooh.
I have a 2-year-old son who, mind you, I had never spent one night away from.
Right.
And I have my boyfriend, and we go to jail.
Whew.
And my son then gets taken by CPS. So,
Children Family Services, just so
Yep.
everybody knows the acronym.
so in the beginning of my CPS case, there was really a lot of misdirected anger. It's like, I want to blame the police. I want to blame CPS. But really, I mean, they wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for me.
Right.
Everything, that I was doing. So me and my
Can I ask
boyfriend.
a question real
Yep.
quick? I think what's interesting, and I've heard this more often, and that is it's literally the worst day of your life to have your child taken away from you.
Yep.
But ultimately, it is almost the best thing that can happen.
Yep.
Because even though you don't want to look in the mirror, ultimately, that mirror's got to come around at some point. Would that be accurate?
That's what, when I went to treatment, that was like my catchphrase.
Okay.
The worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire life ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, I was being a mom, but I wasn't being a good mom.
Right.
You know, like I never spent a night away from him, but was I being that consistent, that present parent? Like, no. So my son gets taken. He's in a foster home. Me and my boyfriend are like, okay, this is it. Like,
Got to do something now.
we have to do something. So we actually went to treatment together on the same day too.
Oh, look at you two. You got this shared story.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I know. So he ended up going to a treatment center that was more like an outpatient thing. I had to go to a family program
Okay.
because I had to get custody of the baby back.
And so all of these things are generally deemed by a judge, Children Family Services. All these steps that you have to go through are based on sort of a protocol that they have so that you eventually can get your son back, correct?
Yep. So like right when our case opened, you know, and that's a scary time too, because you, especially if you've never had a CPS case, you're just like, what? I felt like a deer in headlights. I had no idea what was going on. And like the way things work in like legal courts for child family services is really completely different than how it works in the criminal court case system.
Right.
So I understood that. But so when things are happening, I felt all alone. So more of that misdirected anger. You know, I'd be up at 3 a.m. emailing my CPS worker, you know, like,
Probably not the nicest things you've ever said to somebody.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because you didn't understand what was going on.
Didn't understand what was going on.
And I think this is why when we get into the second part of this
Yeah.
series that we have a passion about educating people about what's going to happen.
Yep.
That is the breadth of peer recovery services is that I've been through this. Can I help you? You would have just dreamed to have somebody who could have
Oh,
just
I wish.
walked you through, right?
I wish I had someone that was like, hey, I've been through this.
Yeah,
I've
and here's what to
successfully,
accept.
yeah, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Hey, don't email her at 3 a.m. It's not going to work good for you.
No, right.
You know? So,
We live and learn, right,
yep,
Rachel?
Yep. So I went to treatment for 10 months. I was it was an outpatient program, but it was more, it's not like you have like a 28-day program. This was like you will leave when you're ready. So I was there for 10 months. Mind you, that was the only time that I ever went to treatment. So I had made it doing meth for 20 years, somehow finagled away with not ever having to deal with that. So I knew when I went that I was never going to do drugs again.
Nice.
So I knew that I wanted to get everything I could out of that experience. So
You took your time.
That's what I did. Yeah.
You took your time. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Versus wanting to rush out the door.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm done. I don't want to do this again. And then you also had this little child
Yep.
hanging out there. And then you have another couple of individuals and children that are part of this whole picture.
Yep.
So great motivation, yet scary as all heck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was in treatment, I ended up getting my son because it was a family program. So maybe like 3 or 4 months into being there, he actually got to come and live there with me. So that was amazing. So that was like my motivation. Like, okay, I got him. So now I know what I'm working towards. So yeah.
So here you are.
So here I am.
So you got done with treatment when?
I left treatment March 15th of 2024.
March 15th of 2024. So just this past March.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Aren't you amazing?
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. So, and the journey has been good. You've stayed in recovery, correct?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
And when you made that commitment to yourself, why did you make that commitment? I'm not going to do it again. What was that?
Well, I think for me it was I wanted to do something different.
Okay.
Every other time, like, I'd stop using for like a month or two, or I just knew that I even knew when I was getting high, like after I had my son and, you know, right before my house got raided, like I was in a deep, deep depression because I knew that I was capable of so much more and I was just fed up. And it was
Okay.
like something had to give. So that's why I say the worst thing that ever happened to me ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, I needed that, and I'm grateful for it.
Sometimes we have to have the hammer come down.
Yeah.
You know, I talk about my own story, which is I had a second DWI. And the fact is that I needed to have that happen for me to say, okay, 2x4 across the head for the second time
Yeah.
is enough.
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting what you said. It's like, I'm better than that.
Yeah.
I'm better than that person that I was when I was just not respecting myself, not to mention other people, the community, risking literally my life as well as other people's lives. It's like all these thoughts. Does that ring a bell, ladies?
It's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, I am
But
not
you're-
supposed to be doing this.
But you're stuck.
Yeah.
So
And,
stuck.
and I think that's the thing. When we come back from break, I want to talk a little bit about what that stuck looks like. And I can talk a little bit by myself and a little bit I want you all to like that stuck. Because a lot of people who are supporting people and loving people that have substance use disorder don't get it. It's like, just stop. Well, just stop going to the bathroom.
Sounds good.
Yeah, yes. So thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution on AM 950. See you in a minute.
And there's one thing that I've learned through this year of being alone.
I love this music. Thank you, Aaron Fitzgerald, for picking this back in the day. For it just kind of gets you swaying in your chair, right? Ladies, they're not swaying, but I am. Just be comfortable. It's okay. Yes. What do you call me at work?
Mom.
Mom. She has a mother that gave birth to her, but I sort of act as this weird sort of strange thing.
She's my work mother.
Work mom,
Yes.
just like I have Sarah as my work wife.
Yes.
You know, we all have these relationships. So welcome to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution here on AM 950. What I want to discuss, we kind of left these two incredible stories about two women that really overcame. And when we leave that substance use disorder behind, when I do the training at Minnesota Recovery Connection, I've sort of began to identify it as we are leaving a friend behind because we know exactly what that friend can do for us, has done for us. And so we have to like develop new things that we can do, new friendships. I could overuse that, but we're leaving something that we completely understand behind. So when you left, you said, I'm not, Rachel, you said, I'm not going to use again. How did you say, friend, I need you to just back the freak bus off? How did you do that?
I don't know. I just did it. Like, I just didn't have any reservations. But I think going to treatment was like the easy part. So getting out of treatment and figuring out how to adult.
Yes.
Because I hadn't adulted in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So, that is the hard part, is
Right.
getting out and going, okay, now, what now?
Right.
Because now I have a criminal record.
Yep.
Now, I've got all this stigma because I've had a CPS case.
Right.
It's closed. I've gotten custody of my son back, but
Yay!
there's a lot of shame and guilt that goes with that. So it's just figuring out how to live, dare I say, normal. you
Yeah.
know?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
And I think it really goes to show why the work that we do at our organization, Minnesota Recovery Connection, and that is you can talk to a human and say, boy, oh boy, I know how tough this is. I remember after 10 months getting out, I have to adult?
Yeah.
What the heck I haven't adulted in years.
I got to put a bill in my name? Like, what?
Jeez, yeah. I mean, a lot of people take this stuff for granted.
Yeah.
So, Josie, you had to leave your friend behind.
I did.
And how did that brain twist work for you?
I would say, so one of my best friends, we used together, we were really good friends even before we both got into methamphetamine. But so we started doing meth together, and she kind of planted the seed of getting into recovery because she got clean. She started a family. She got a job. She went back to school, and it was really inspiring to me. And she still stayed in contact with me.
Oh, bless her heart.
I know. She's just such a beautiful human being. And so that definitely played a huge factor of like me wanting to do better for myself, you know, because I saw her and I'm like, well, if she can do it, like I can do it.
Right.
And
You found a new friend.
yeah. And so I would definitely say that she had a huge influence on it. You know, me wanting to get into recovery and just do better for myself. You know, I was really sick and tired of just doing the same thing and hanging out with these like not so great people. I mean, I don't want to say they're bad people, but they are just
They were
you know.
bad influence.
Yeah, and
They kept you stuck.
Yeah, and I didn't want to be stuck anymore. So I really feel like it was that intrinsic motivation of just wanting more.
Wow, she just tossed out a little term there that we use in our class.
I think also I found myself not wanting to just chase being sober. I wanted to be in recovery.
Wow.
Which are really two different things. And once you figure that out,
Yep.
you know, a whole new world opens up.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I'm really glad you said that because as you've been talking, the terminology that we try to lean away from is clean and sober. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the words because they are part of our community. But for you, Rachel, to just say that difference between, and I've said it too, when I was back in the day, I stopped using alcohol, but I was just sober at the time.
Yeah.
And it took me actually moving much further along on my journey because I really was part of that community to find Minnesota Recovery Connection 6-7 years ago where I could actually say, wait a minute, recovery is something so different. It's like a whole new, it's like,
Absolutely.
your brain just opens up. Like, who can I be now?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Who am I? Number one.
Yep.
And then who can I be? And it's a huge movement. And I think that's one of the things that when people are listening to these stories, that's what these two women have talked about. They were using substances. Their lives got very complicated. Things got very unruly. Consequences happened. Not quite ready to stop yet. That sort of pre-contemplation area, tossing out a little term from the class. But we're just not quite ready for the next move. And then what happens is that something just kind of gets inside your head, or someone in Josie's case, and something happened to you. And we go, oh, wait a minute. I don't have to be that human anymore. But man alive, that ain't no easy movement, is it, my friends?
No.
It is a huge step.
Yeah.
So anybody who is working and loving and caring for somebody who struggles with substance use disorder, when we say, hey, just can you stop using? Like you said, Rachel, I think the most important thing is that once somebody has been using whatever it is for a while and we ask them to just stop, where do they pick up from? Because they haven't been doing life in a normal way, right?
Yeah. So when I went to treatment, when I first got there, they kept asking me, you know, who are you? And I was like, I have no idea who I am.
Right.
So for you to tell someone to just stop using, it's like, but who are you without that substance?
Right. Yeah.
Because that's who I was. I was meth.
Yeah.
I ate, slept, and breathed it.
Yeah.
That was my whole world.
Right.
So who was I without it?
Yeah.
That's what I had to go figure out.
It's all consuming. Was that the same for you, Josie?
Oh, yeah.
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 And I could say that was for me for alcohol too. I mean, I would wake up in the morning probably with a pounding headache, get past that, have a little Mickey D's, and then get past that. But then I was also at about 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Which happy hour can I go to? Who can I call? Who's left on my list?
Who even wants to drink with me?
Exactly. Because I'd kind of made a name for myself. And
Right.
so when we say you're going to stop using whatever your chemical is and just sort of figure it out, it's like, but I don't know because I've been doing this for a long time. So I really want people to think about when you want somebody to stop using chemicals, it takes a village to help build the world back up, or to build just the scaffolding of like, so you want to stop using your chemical. I don't even know what that's like because I'm speaking like I'm a normie. I'm about as normal as it not. But, you know, how do I say stop and I still love you, but now what do I do as a friend, as a family member, as a somebody? We have to ask that question. The person who wants somebody to stop using, it's like, what do you need? What is it that will help you next? Because they don't know how to move forward, right, ladies? Mm-hmm. You're stuck.
Yeah.
you know?
And I feel like that person has to really want it too.
Uh-huh.
You know, because, I mean, you can't help anyone if they don't want help.
No, but man, there's a lot of people that want us to get them to get it, to get
Yes.
sober, to get in recovery.
Yes.
They're like banging on our door saying, hello, let's go, let's
Right.
go. I'm tired of seeing you hurt yourself, hurt me, hurt the community, all those things. But it takes a while. I
Yeah.
mean, 10 months for you. And for you, it took the right people at the right time with some consequences. For me, it was consequences, and I never went to treatment, but I went straight where the court told me to go, which was, an AA meeting, and that was where my recovery came along. But the journey is so different for everybody. And I think that's really an important message that we have here. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
They're just looking at me like, duh, Caddy. Well, and so when we come back, we're going to go into the second part of this conversation, which is what are these women now doing at Minnesota Recovery Connection? So the second part of this is the work through AmeriCorps Recovery Corps, and that is just going to be a whole new topic. So let's say goodbye to the lovely people out there listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
So thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution here on AM 950. We will be back and we will share with you the next phase.